with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to Talking Horses on a glorious Whitney Day here at Saratoga. August 1st, August kicks off. We are brought to you by our good friends at Saratoga Water. Anthony Stabile will be joining me, Andy Serling, in just a moment. Got some business to take care of, and then we've got a lot of business to take care of. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, start out Whitney Day, start out August.
Hey, don't be banging on the table. That's my gig.
We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code SPA. Go to NairaBets.com, become a member, support racing in New York. Join Naira Bets. Want to let people know a special menu. We've got 3 pick 5s today and 3 pick 4s. 1, 6, and 8 for those pick 5s and 2, 4, and 9 for the pick 4s special Whitney Day betting menu. Also, want to remind people, Bankroll Builder, bet 50 to win. Let's see, Alan Jerkins, Bankroll Builder, bet 50 to win on anybody, 50 or more, and you'll get $20 back for a Kentucky Derby Day, win or lose. So that's a pretty strong bonus. If you're going to bet 20, you actually bet $10 more, and you get $30 more of action. That is a great promotion. You got to play it through Naira Bets. Also, Cross Country Pick 5, Woodbine Race 9, Monmouth Race 11, Saratoga Race 9, Woodbine Race 10, Saratoga Race 10. I believe we'll be showing those Woodbine races on Saratoga Live today. And just so you know, Saratoga Live, today and every day. All the action. Head over to Naira.com/Saratoga Live. Let people know. Also want to let people know we will not be on Fox, I think, from 3 to 4 today, but you can catch the action on YouTube Live. Check out, if you follow Naira Bets on Twitter, Naira on Twitter, but also go to the website, find out where you can watch it. You can always watch on YouTube as well, the Naira YouTube page.
And that $50 win bet on the Run Happy Alan Jerkins today.
He's Anthony Stabile, by the way.
Hi, everybody. That is part of the Derby Bankroll Builder. They're going to be a grade 1 every Saturday leading up until to Kentucky Derby / Woodward
so
Day.
the way I'm going, I can play those, and I'll at least have a few.
You'll have $100. If you play all 5 of them, you'll have $100 in your account on Thursday, September 3rd. The money will be.
So here's the cool thing. Race number 1 starts out the way Saratoga. One thing that's been lacking at this meet are the 2-year-old races, and this has the look of a serious 2-year-old race. Now, we'll show you a horse with experience, as there are 2, and this one goes out for Todd Bletcher. Took a ton of money first time. I don't, some people criticize Johnny. I don't know what they wanted Johnny to do. The rail opened up like the Red Sea. There was nothing wrong with the rail at Belmont. Horse didn't want to go through, swung to the outside, had 3 horses dueling in front, and barely picked up second. This horse was touted before the first start, but better be significantly better. And I think there are a couple fillies in that race as well.
Yep.
One of them is running back tomorrow, actually, in the filly race. And there are tips in this race on the 3 reinvestment risk, the 1A outlier, the 5 regular guy to half to Carpe Diem, and the 8 Team Merchants. I think the one on the outside for Doug O'Neill is 9-1 now. Will not be 9-1. All these horses apparently working very well, Anthony.
Not the story I got on Doug O'Neill on Team Merchants. I got a good story on Doug Doug
said,
O'Neill.
I said, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I got a
was
good
not gonna
story
be
on Doug
not
O'Neill.
going.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Nyquists run. Of course, he was undefeated through the Kentucky Derby, so we know how well he did as a 2-year-old. If his runners can duplicate any of his races when he was a baby, they're going to be coming out of there flying with the first crop. So draws outside in here, going 6 furlongs. I don't mind the outside draw. I went to the number 18 Merchants.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the entry you prefer the 1A, not the 1, or you went to Bill Mox, you can't resist.
I prefer the 1A. I like both of them, but I did prefer the 1A, yes.
The 1A is not this time, who's gotten off, I think, to a decent start. I took the 3 reinvestment risk, the $280,000 2-year-old purchase that worked 20 and 4/5. I thought very impressive workout coming out of a 59.4 work. I also used the 2 Zenith Moon, who's not one of the horses that's tipped on, but I really liked this horse's 10 flat workout for trainer John Kimmel, or not for John Kimmel at the 2-year-old sale, but I'm looking forward to this race because I think there's a very good chance that we're going to see some really solid runners out of this race and horses that can run in the hopeful.
Obviously, an Australian-bred mare. She was all turf, 4 for 12 on the turf. This is her first fall. But, yeah, she's by Malibu Moon. She draws the inside. Jose Ortiz rides. John doesn't really reach out for Jose Ortiz a lot, but they win at about 25% when he does.
See what happens. Race number 1 has the looks of a very, very interesting 2-year-old race to start the action. Race number 2, 1 mile inner turf. Somebody asked me on Twitter why I didn't have NYC in my top 4, and my reasoning was, first of all, everybody in this race can win, and I mean everybody, and I know Anthony agrees. I'm not going to take a dirt horse that's going to take money on dirt figs, that doesn't have a gigantic amount of turf pedigree, that's got to improve probably to win the race. I'm not saying he can't do it. I won't be shocked if he does. Todd Pletcher already won one of the horses at a better price, though. There are some nice horses in here. Now, the most stake-faced one is probably Fog of War, who I thought Anthony would pick on top, but he did not. And we'll take a look at him in the Manila. Here's my feeling, Fog of War. You know I've never been his biggest fan.
I know that.
But I will say that he ran extremely well in the Manila, and obviously something went wrong in the Secretariat because he's been out for a long time, almost a year. He runs this race, he can win. He runs any of his other races, he can't.
Agreed. Just let me know when this is over. Because I can't watch this one.
I watched this race with Chad Brown. It was a painful beat for him.
I watched this one from home.
I think I bet the second. Actually, I bet Pulsate.
This was
ran nowhere.
Yeah, this was like an $8,000 pick 5 or something like that.
Oh, stop whining.
Yeah.
A man like you who's so rich with friends. Exactly. You're rich with friends.
You're
what
right.
do you need money for?
If I could cash in all my friends, I'd be the richest man on the planet.
I considered picking Hidden Scroll. I'm going to tell you something. I put him fourth. I hope he wins. I'm so sick of the naysayers. I feel bad for this horse.
And so I picked Hidden Scroll. You picked Dream Friend. And I think you have to do what we did. If you like one, I don't think you can like the other because one's going to take the
hard
other
to see them
out of their
game.
game.
Not
Correct.
impossible, but hard to see it.
Not impossible, but hard to see. And I think Hidden Scroll, there's no doubt at this point, he has to go. You have to let him go to the lead. You have to put him on the front end.
Absolutely.
And you, in essence,
let
that kind of takes Dream Friend out of his best game. He kind of negates him.
Well,
and then if the Chad Brown horses come running, they come running.
I'm going to argue with you on that.
Okay.
Dream Friend's second to Hey Dakota, who was a Jason Service, special that day.
Yes, it was.
Rating was actually pretty good. And I'm going to tell you, I thought he got the wrong ride last time. They should have let him open up. That slow-paced race that ended up falling apart, letting everybody in the race.
Yeah, I used them last time thinking that they were just going to try to blow the doors off that field.
I don't agree with David. I do not believe he will be one of the shortest prices in this race. I think people are going to say he can't. But you said he can't get the lead from Hidden Scroll, and so he can't win, and they're going to get sick of him. I think he might be the best horse in this race.
Yeah, but Andy, you got to one thing here. You see, and on paper, if you're a speed figure fan, you got to be tapping out on this horse today.
Speed figures on turf are dubious. I don't believe this horse is. I disagree with David's line. I think he's going to be wrong. I think they're going to focus on Chad Brown's, and I don't like Spirit Animal. He can win. I picked him second, but his last race looked a lot more impressive because nobody showed up at all in that race. He still ran a 93 fig and won easily, but who showed up in there?
I don't disagree with that, but I mean, he and I know you're going to say the turf. He ran a fast race.
He did, but the margin was exaggerated though because nobody showed up.
Right, nobody was firing late. I mean, even if you add a second onto that time, I mean, he was flying that day. He was flying.
No, he ran. I agree. He ran the best race he ever ran.
And I'll tell you one thing: he's going to have plenty of pace to run into in here. Because one of those two horses is going to be on the lead, and if it's Hidden Scroll like I think it's going to be, he's going to be going pretty fast.
You know what I love? A week ago, people foolishly and mistakenly said that speed was no good in the turf. Now everybody's saying speed can't lose in the turf. No. It's dynamics,
It's
baby.
dynamics.
It's just dynamics. Just take them apart. Race number 3. The second race is a good one. And I honestly, there is no horse anyone could pick in this race.
Listen,
the whole
card's fun for different reasons. The early doubles are a really fun way to kick off this day.
I agree. Race number 3. You know, race number 3, I thought about picking KK Ichikawa. I don't think Regal Speaker did a ton of running in the first race. I will show you a stat for Arnaud Delacour. He is incredible with his maiden special weight, the maiden claimers in the turf. I just think, and they're all short prices, I just think this is a short price that found the right
Now, you see
field.
this short price stat you have? Now this is the overall number the last year and a half. He's 5 for 9, and the ROI goes lower. So that means the shorter prices have won more recently. He's a bit of a kitchen sink. I obviously used him. He must be used. I mean, if you're playing pick 4s, pick 5s, and you don't use this horse, you're foolish. I took one little swing against him with KK Ichikawa.
Now that Michelle Nevin follows me on Twitter, I'm done with her. I'm moving on. I'm not picking her horse.
Okay,
I was only picking her horses to try to get her
to
finally follow me on Twitter. It worked.
Hirsch baited you, you baited her. That's how it worked.
It took me 5 years, but I finally got her.
That's how it worked. First time Lasix for KK Ichikawa. I think one of these two horses are going to win. Maybe you want to try. Actually, I'm going to backtrack on that because I'm pretty sure you always say you and I in a horse suit. If Christophe Clement put you and I in a horse suit at this point and Joel was riding, I think the horse has to be.
You got a dam of Allied Invasion was 0 for 9 in the turf. You got a Normandy Invasion. Good luck. There is some turf in the second dam, though. A second generation. I will say that. I'm not overly interested in that horse. No Salt's a funny horse. I don't really like this horse, but obviously he was bet in his turf debut and ducked in badly and left the course.
It's a complete head case.
But he could win.
Go on. Yeah, he can win. They're hoping that he can. His mental state can come around a little bit. Don't we all wish that of ourselves?
You know, I don't. I actually
like to be a little bit of a loon?
All right. I like where my mental state is. I'm good. I'm good.
Right. What do we say about Claiborne doing the usual, unusually well?
That is the statement.
Right?
Yeah,
doing the usual, unusually well?
I agree.
We do the unusual, usually well.
I think. I'd like to think we do something well. Race number 4. Race number 4 is an interesting race. We agreed in this race? Did you change your picks?
No. Nope. We talked about this last time, though. I told you I was going to pick this horse.
Go ahead.
Once they cut back. Well, it's Uncle Moonlight who was going to cut back off a mile and a 16th race in the mud where Creed won off that day. This horse a half to By the Moon and Wonderful Light, horses that were accomplished sprinters, especially By the Moon. She was a Grade 1 winner right here. And now she cuts back to the 7/8. He cuts back. You and I both talked about this when he debuted. Why is Michelle Nevin running this horse long when all the pedigree? Well, you know what? There's no way to get a horse fit than to run a horse a mile and a 16th, especially one turn at Belmont.
I don't think this horse really loved the mud watching the race.
I don't either.
I'll show you a stat for what it's worth with Michelle Nevin. Overall, her cutbacks with maidens, she's got good numbers. She's almost 30%, 215 ROI. Only 0 for 1, finishing 4th at 6-1 with the only one making it second start for what it's worth. She better be a runner, though, because I'm a Pharaoh doesn't win, but she's obviously got talent.
He does.
Though he's got talent. I'm kind of tired of him. I think the 3 Dreams of Tomorrow is much the worst to beat. I know a lot of people are going to say he hung last time. I don't agree. I thought it was a fast race, and we'll take a look at it, actually. This is Dreams of Tomorrow's last race. I thought it was a fast race, and it was also a race that featured a very moderate pace and got wired. So I don't think Dreams of Tomorrow ran badly. I don't think he really hung. I think he just got beaten by a horse who ran well and got a better trip.
Yep. I could agree with you more. First Line comes back to win here, going the mile and an 1/8 earlier this week, who ran 3rd. And the first 2 finishes here are going to beat First Line a long way. They're going to leave him 7 lengths behind his First Line. I thought this was a good effort. You know, sometimes too, Andy, he was cutting back Dreams of Tomorrow from 7 to 6. Now he's cutting back out to the 7. I think they're the 2 horses in here.
Yeah, the distance doesn't make any difference to me, but I think the interesting horses here are Searing Chase, the number 2. This horse made a huge winning middle move in the race and actually had the lead top of the stretch and then fell apart late. I'm not sure what to do, but I think Searing Chase is a dangerous horse in here, and I wouldn't completely dismiss this horse. Okay. I could use all. In fact, to be honest, I probably would take a shot and throw it on Pharaoh because he's had so many chances and not gotten it done. You've had the other Todd horse, Obsessed, in there, who took a lot of money in his debut.
There was a story on this horse first time.
That was a bad field. He was awful.
There was a story on
Maybe
this horse.
What happened.
He was 5-2 favorite, and I would have to think that something went wrong that day.
Johnny was riding him the entire way.
Yeah, it's 8 months later now. I like betting the story horses, the tip horses back. And in this field, I mean, this horse has to, even if he takes some money based on the fact that there was a story, he's got to be 8-1, right?
But he's also got to be pretty good to win.
I don't
Anthony.
disagree, but
this is not a bunch of bums. They're not killers, but they're not bad.
If you want to stretch, if you can stretch your bankroll a little bit, I mean, he's the kind of horse where if you can beat the favorites, I think he's the place you want to go at a big price.
All right, race number 5. Close out the early pick 5. It's the first grade 1 of the day, and it's featuring this horse, Midnight Bisu, arguably one of the best horses in the country right now. This is her return race. There are differing opinions on this. I'm not as impressed as everybody else. I still think it came up a very slow race, and she got a good trip overall, but she did win very easily, and obviously she's capable of running much better.
I was covering this race and then the Stephen Foster after this on HRN. I was visually impressed, knocked off my feet. You see Tom's D'Etat come back later.
You're the biggest sucker for fillies and mares in the history of racing.
I am. Comes back later. Tom's D'Etat comes back 28 minutes later and runs a second and a half faster. When you go back and watch the race, this is a slow race. No way around it. This is a slow race. You can't make. You can do whatever you want.
Against that
this is a slow
foolish.
race. It's a slow race, and that's it. And I fell for it right away, saying, "How's anybody going to beat her?" Well, you know what? She in the last 8-9 months saved the race in Saudi, where at one turn her running style is
she got some ride and trip.
She got a great ride.
She ran great.
She
ran great. She ran great. I don't mean that as a criticism, but man, did she get a great trip and run today.
From her personal ensign last year, she's gotten slower. There's no way around that.
I think you picking against her, it's a little bit of the Sister Charlie thing from last week. She's a super short price. I'm not picking against her, which means she won't win because I always pick against horses like this, and when I do, they never seem to win. I do believe she'll run much better. I cannot believe, though, that you are giving another chance to this horse, Point of Honor, who I thought you told me last time you were done with her after her last race.
I was done. You know what?
This was one of the most pathetic hang jobs I've ever seen.
I'm going to tell you what turned me. What turned me was Jonathan Kinchin talking with George Weaver on Saratoga Live, and George mentioning that despite her running style, hold on a minute, George wanted to get her back around 2 turns. Now, nothing about this filly's running style tells you she'd want 2 turns.
Which one of her 2-turn races is so much better than her 1-turn races?
Say that again?
Which one of her 2-turn races is better than her 1-turn races?
I'm with you, but when a guy like George Weaver, who does a great job,
says something that doesn't make sense based on the PPs, you believe it?
Well, let me ask you a question. She's second last year in the CCA Oaks to Guarana.
She runs the same figures in 1-turn races, 2-turn races.
Hold on a second. She's second. I don't disagree with you. But when a trainer says that, and it doesn't
trainer
make
speak.
I think there's a big difference between trainer speak and what he was saying.
And truth?
I think there's I think this was truth. I think he believes that.
I think the way to play this race is to pitch her for second.
Okay.
And to bet a cold 3-4, personally.
Okay.
I hear you. Listen, Point of Honor is a nice horse, no question about it. She had the perfect trip of the century last time and lost to She's a Julie. I mean, give me a break. I can't. I couldn't take her. Even the bad Midnight Bisu races are faster than her good races. I just can't see it.
Okay.
Whereas Vexatious ran a big figure last time. Ran 1 turn. I get it. Ran second to Monomoy Girl. Maybe Monomoy Girl's genuinely back. And I'm not going to discount this horse. And I'll tell you something else about her. Her race in the Summer Colony, I'm not sure a race in Summer Colony behind Blue Prize, who won the Spinster and the Breeders' Cup in her next 2 races, isn't actually as good as any race that Point of Honor's ever run, and maybe better.
I'm going to tell you what. Last year in the John Nehrude, Promises Fulfilled ran the highest buyer speed figure of his life. And I did not like the race one bit and kept betting against him off of that race. I don't want anybody out of that ruffian. I didn't like that race, and I know Monomoy Girl got one of the biggest figures of her life. I want nothing to do with anybody coming out of that race.
Can we discuss the lunch bet that made it 53 yesterday?
Which one was
Anthony was 11-1. I was 44-1.
I keep winning, by the way. I keep having winning days, and I keep stewing over losing lunches to this guy.
The only good opinions I have are my lunch opinions.
It's amazing.
Thankfully,
they hit my bad ones.
I beat the 44-1 shot, beat your 11-1 shot. Give me that pen. It's 53. We're going to bet 3 lunches. I'm going to take 4 over 6 to get it down to 50 or 56.
I like that.
Okay.
That's
how generous a person I am. I am such a giver. Anyway, this is going to be a fun race, and I'm excited to see Midnight Bisu. You and I have some reservations. I agree. She's a superstar, and you want to see the superstars run.
No
and I'm thrilled she's
it.
here. I hope she runs a terrific race. And I know, by the way, in your heart, because you're the biggest softie ever, you want her to win by 5 lengths and put on a show.
And listen, work with Jeff Bloom over at HRN, friends of the family. You love seeing the fact that he keeps her in training at 5. You know, they should absolutely be applauded for that. But you know, we're trying to pick winners and make some money up here. She's gotten slower since that personal, and that was a great effort against the late last year. You could argue that she's facing an easier field today.
That was her best race.
It was the best race by far. I don't disagree with that.
Race number 6.
Pick 5. This is a mandatory payout, pick 5, folks. So the early one carries to the early, late one carries to the late. This one, 6 through 10, mandatory payout today.
This man is on fire today. I can't pick against this horse. You've abandoned your buddy Chad Brown. I thought Mr. Winston, and we'll take a look at his last race, ran absolutely super last time. I didn't like his first race. I mean, he attacked the fast pace. A lot of people like Creed a lot, and he may be good, and I respect that Shug is being patient. He's, I think, playing the Jim Dandy with him.
Yes, he
because
is.
Shug realizes he's gotten good trips in his races. He's run well, got good trips. Mr. Winston ran huge, as did Live Your Best Life, who you thought would run well, and he was almost 40-1. This was a super effort. He cuts back a little bit. I think Mr. Winston is going to turn out to be a very nice 3-year-old.
And I would not be surprised, win or lose for Mr. Winston, if he joins Creed in the Jim Dandy starting gate off of this effort. Thank you. I thought it was a 2-horse race between Mr. Winston and Everfast. Maybe a little famish. No, famish is a little
We'll
dressed
get to him in a second.
Along.
Let's take a look at Everfast now, though. I'm not going to argue. Everfast runs back to this race, 2 back in the blame.
What an effort here.
No question, Mr. Winston could be in trouble as well as he ran last time. This is a super effort.
He found some positional speed, and they weren't crawling on the front end, Andy. They were going a good clip in front of him. He was never that far from contention. He makes the lead right here, and Owendale, who gets the best of all of it, they're going 45 and change, just swoops the group, comes down. And this is, I mean, look at him. He's still digging in here.
Can I say something?
Last 2 jumps.
I like the work that Jack Sisterson has done. Why wouldn't he have run? Why run the Maker's Mark on the turf? He should have run in the Met Mile. It's a race that's worth more money, has enormous value, and you know what? He was 77-1 in the Maker's Mark. He wouldn't have been 77-1 in the Met Mile.
20-1 in the Met Mile.
He should have run in the Met Mile.
Yeah,
right, he'd been 20-1, but
I don't disagree. Well, he's
but if you're going to run him there.
If you're going to run him in a place where he's probably in over his head.
Look at this way. Look at the race. Look at Network Effect, who ran second. Was his credentials so much better than his horses?
Not at all. Not at all. And this is also a case where when Joel Rosario climbs aboard this horse, more often than not, they're just different results.
He can win. He can win. I agree with Famished. I have been waiting for Famished. I think Famished could run the turf, but I want less distance. The problem is the races are tough when he gets in there, but I agree. I think he's the sneaky
horse in here.
I think he'll run well as well. That's the first half of the card. We've still got 6 to go. We'll be back after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, presented by our good friends, Saratoga Water. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. Maiden 2-year-olds in race number 7. Couple horses with experience in race number 7. We both picked the 8 in here. You, me, and everybody else for Ian Wilkes. Why don't you talk about modern science?
Yeah, Galileo.
Think a lot of Galileos run at Ellis Park?
Not a lot of Galileos run at Ellis Park. No, sir. This horse ran 3rd on debut. Went the mile at Ellis Park. A lot of times trainers down in Kentucky wait for those Ellis Park races because the turf races get them around 2 turns, and the horses that want more ground. And obviously, Ian Wilkes, whose horses almost always improve second time out. They don't always win. They don't win a lot first time out. They don't always win second time out. They always seem to run a whole lot better. I just think if this horse improves,
I know the race on his trip last time.
Say again.
Do you have any comments on his trip last time?
Well, I mean, he was hopelessly out the back.
Okay, he actually wasn't. He broke a length slow. He was wide in the first turn. He did settle in 2 wide. He got jammed up behind horses on the inside, and it's almost like he just was in a position where there was almost no way he could win the race. I'm not saying he would have won, but he was kind of put in positions where it was going to be very hard for him to get the job done. I know it got a low fig. Horses have come back and improved off the race. I'm not sure how relevant the fig is. We'll see how it works out. Now, Habitus is the one I think will take more money for Graham Motion, and we're going to take a look at Habitus's start of his last race because it's important to note he got completely and totally left in this race. So He did run fine in here. The problem is, as we'll switch from the video to a stat, we've talked about this stat before. Graham Motion's numbers stretching out 2-year-olds, but stretching out maidens in general, second start, all starts overall, they're just lousy. And I know this horse is supposed to stretch, a kitten's joy, and it's supposed to be tough in here, but the numbers just are bad.
They just don't win. They just don't win. It's almost like they need more than the first race. They need a little bit more. And you know what? That could also be the fact Graham Motion is not hard on his horses. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe they just need to run
Well, Sharing
into...
would have won her second start going long, but she got rained off the turf, and it ended up being a dirt race, and she still won.
There are going to be exceptions, Andy. What I'm saying is, you know, he's not hard, and that's a testament to him. He's not hard on his horses, so sometimes
I don't know
they
that he is
may
or
need...
isn't.
I don't think he's hard on his horses.
I don't have any idea.
I'm telling you, I don't
he's
think
spending some time down at Fair Hills with him.
From what I was told and from people whose opinions I value, he's not hard on his horses.
Name a couple of them.
Yeah. So
I want names, dates.
No, I don't give names.
Video.
A good reporter doesn't give names.
Right.
You got the wrong guy.
I don't particularly like King of Miami. Another trainer who has horrible numbers stretching out in the turf. Wesley Ward stretching out in the turf with maidens, 5 for 80, 56-cent ROI, 3 for 37 with 2-year-olds. Just doesn't have particularly good numbers stretching out. King of Miami, I don't know. I know it was off the turf, but this horse was abysmal first time out.
No, he's by American Pharoah, and we know how well those American Pharoahs are doing on the turf. They're doing well on both surfaces, but I also like the fact that Wesley kept this horse in last time. I know it was only a 5-horse field, and he wound up winning the race with the 4-1 winner.
1-2.
Yep. But I like the fact that he left this horse in, get the experience. You learn a lot also on a track like it was the day he ran second. Get a little kickback, get a little experience, and now he stretches out with a 6-furlong race under his belt. I'm
going to use Mike Maker's horse Explain. The dam won 2 of 13 starts in the turf. It was sort of a cheaper horse, but second foal. There's plenty of turf pedigree. It's Mike Maker. Tried the dirt as a prep, first time out, second time starter. I mean, I think this race is interesting. There's other stuff going on. The Dam of Bustin' Beaver was actually a good turf horse. Dam Elise was a good horse. I wouldn't discount Bill Mott at any point. Obviously, Shawty's got some pedigree as well, going back to the second family. So I think there's a lot going on in this race. We'll see. First, is this the second 2-year-old maiden race going long?
Yeah.
All right. Second or third?
Maybe the third. I was
third.
about
Might be the third,
maybe
actually.
The third. Or
race
could have been one of each. Yeah.
Number 8 at 1 mile and 3/8. Well, I think there's 2 ways to go in here, and I thought you picked Reigning Spirit in here. Oh, okay. Maybe I never even looked at your picks. There's Reigning Spirit for Al Stahl, who's having a good meet so far, as he always does, and, of course, has Tom Detot. I thought he was fine in here. It's who's going to stretch out. We'll take a look at the Amano Bailout race. Bailout ran fine. Bailout's had a lot of chances and doesn't win. We'll show you the start of this race for number 11. And what I wanted to point out, the reason I'm showing the start, the 11 is Amano. Amano actually has speed. And in not sort of going forward here, and it kind of, and you know, I love Joel, a little lax there. You think of the position he had early, look where he ends up because doesn't save ground in the turn and just sort of lax there. The horse goes from being very forward to significantly far behind, and I felt like this horse lost major position early that really compromised his chances.
Yeah, it's almost like a harness racing, right? Like a harness line. He just keeps getting shuffled back, but without any
now, maybe
trouble.
He's a bit of a plotter, but I don't know. He broke pretty sharply, and I thought he could have been a little closer in here, and that's probably what affected him. I don't think he ran great, but I just thought he'd probably be the one over Reigning Spirit. Nothing clever.
I mean, Bailout had a much better trip, and he's just doing all the running at the end of this race. You can even argue that maybe he could have won it from here, but look, I think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive today. I think if he breaks as sharply as he did last time, I'm not saying they're going to go on with it, but I don't think the source is going to be
but Irad has to look to get some position this race going forward.
He does.
The funniest horse in the race is the 4 Caribbean Gold. I think that he'll be in front.
You think?
Yeah, I think coming out of 5.5. Who's the last horse to go 5.5 to 1 mile and 3/8?
That would be Perret.
Very good. You're the best.
I know. I'm ready today.
Then Anthony and I had an historically large argument about Perret that some may remember,
We did.
even for us on Columbus Day, when you were trying to
yes.
wire the field with the Pletcher Rapoli horse, and I said to you, you can't, the Indy horse, Noble Indy, and I said, do you really think Chuck Lawrence is shedding a horse? The guy who wired the field with Glorious is setting this horse up, and we argued about it, and Chuck Lawrence went to the front with that horse and almost stole the race, and now he's
He won the Tiller.
Yeah, and he came back and ran a good race in the UN and a great one. Holy Emperor ran fine last time. I just thought the 7 or 8 were probably better.
Agreed.
Nothing too clever in race number 8. Stakes action gets back underway in race number 9 with the Whitney.
The rest of the
and I'm going to tell you, I almost switched my pick here to Improbable. But I'd already done a podcast and already sort of talked, and so I was picking Code of Honor, and I didn't think it was right to sort of switch at that point.
Agreed. I like to stick with him as long as
you
it's not
can pick whoever you
change.
want. Tom Stay-Tot's the horse to beat in this race, and if he runs back to his last race, he's probably 1 to 5 to win this race. His best race ever. He's likely to stalk Mr. Buff in this race. And he's run well at Saratoga, so it's not like he's this Churchill lover that can't run well anywhere else. And if you're not a fan of a 7-year-old and Al Stall and the job he's done with this horse, you're just not a fan of racing. This is I don't win. I mean, I'm gonna say
7-year-old
my
full
heart kind of wants this horse
by the
to
way.
win. He's
full
just
horse,
a cool
by the way.
horse. Serious injury 3 years ago after a big allowance win here. He's going to take on Gunrunner, and he's just a win here, and you got to say. He has to be considered the best older horse in the country.
Yeah, I think he is right now.
Close,
I think he is right now. Off of that race that Maximum Security ran last Saturday in the San Diego, and off of his last race in the Stephen Foster, I think you want to say that Tom's d'Etat is the best older horse in the country, and he's a full horse at 7, and he's a really cool story to have around. He is going to work out the same kind of trip he worked out last time.
I'm going to tell you something, though. I think the speed he's got to deal with is better, perhaps.
I think
Mr. Buff is going to run okay today. I don't think he's going to win, but first of all, they have to put him on the front today, and I think that it's going to be a little tougher dealing with him than some people might think.
I think it's going to be tougher dealing with the speed that he has to deal with today in Mr. Buff.
And also Improbable.
And let's be honest, he's never really had a horse the caliber of Code of Honor chasing him down.
Well,
this is going to be a different story today.
I don't know about that.
Who's in there? Who's on the card, Andy?
Okay.
I don't see them on the card.
Okay.
I really don't.
Okay.
I don't see them on the card. Look,
okay,
by my
fair.
standards,
No.
they made $1.1 million with By My Standards, $1.3 million.
Let me ask you a question. If By My Standards is your horse, what are you telling Jose Ortiz to do here? I think you're telling him to be in front of Tom Stay-Tot because you're
telling him to lay up off of Mr. Buff if
his
he can.
good races were when they were aggressive. And they weren't particularly fast paces, but they weren't that slow. And he was very lucky to win a New Orleans handicap. There were a lot of bad trips, and it wasn't a particularly strong field. And he got a soft trip in the Oaklawn, but he ran well. I think you're telling Jose, you're supposed to lead from the rail and try to go to the lead. Let Mr. Buff go if he wants to be aggressive.
But you have to leave for position today, right? You have to try to leave. Now, look, Tom's d'Etat, he's not slow. And Joel Rosario has to look at this race and know that that's what's going to happen here. And I think he'll be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more forward to try to hold that two
a lot of people, not the two people up here, thought By My Standards had a chance to beat Tom Stay-Tot last time. But now, obviously, he showed he couldn't. So there's more information on him. Having said that, it's going to be a much bigger price today. And if you're one of those people that loved By My Standards last time, you might want to ask yourself, I took him at 9 to 5 last time. Today he's going to be 5 to 1 or more, and maybe you're supposed to at least use him or give him another chance. I'm not that guy.
I'm not either.
But I don't think that's flawed thinking.
I don't disagree.
Let's talk about Code of Honor, who I just feel in the Met Mile ran an exceptional race. I know. There was no pace. The race was completely dominated by inside runners and horses that were forward. He was in the back of the pack and widest of all, and he still almost won the race. So I thought this was a remarkably good race. And listen, his Jockey Club Gold Cup and Travers last year, which are races he could theoretically easily build on as a 4-year-old, were good enough to win this race. And I know people don't think there's any pace on paper. He's going to be compromised. I think the pace is going to be, I don't think they're going to be blazing, but I think this is a race, and I never think pace is going to be bad.
To be honest.
Going to be more honest than a lot of people think.
I don't disagree with anything you just said.
I'm not saying it's playing in a Code of Honor's hands. It's not going to fall apart.
I had a conversation with a friend yesterday about this. If you switch network effect and Code of Honor's trips last time.
Code of Honor wins.
Code of Honor wins.
But Code of Honor doesn't have the speed of Network Effects.
I know.
And
he
I'm going to
doesn't.
say something else. Irad gave Network Effect an absolutely
Brilliant.
sensational
Brilliant.
ride last
And
time.
Johnny was left to deal with the hand he was dealt last time. There was nothing that could be done last
He's
time.
got no speed.
Things are completely different today.
Well,
he's
potentially compromised by not that much pace. There's no guarantee that
but
he'll
he
be
gets a
moving
better.
here
He's supposed to get a better setup, and more importantly, he gets more ground. And this is a horse that I think, the more ground he gets, the better he's going to be.
Maybe. I know Shug believes that, and in Shug we trust. I'm going to say this horse has run great at a mile too. Anyway,
He has, but he got beat a mile. He got
got
beat
a
a length
102
and a half.
buyer last time with
I know.
everything going against him.
I don't disagree.
What's to say his last race isn't maybe the best race he ever ran?
I don't disagree, but his two best races. I
Well,
think his two
the
best
first
races
best
were the
races on
Travers and the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
result. I actually think his last race is as good, if not better, than either of those races. I thought he ran unbelievably well last time.
Okay, and I still think.
Got a 102 buyer with everything going against him. You're going to say with things going his own way, he couldn't have run 2 lengths or 3 lengths better? Seriously?
I really like him today.
Okay.
And I know we're going to get the best of it on the tote board.
I'm kind of in love with him, so I've never loved this horse. When we ran the Met Mile after that race, he becomes
I've
my
always
kind
been
of
a
horse.
fan. I've always been a big fan of this horse. Today, and I haven't bet him that often.
Let's
really like him
move
today.
on to Improbable. I'm going to say something about Improbable. I know this win was against a weaker field. He still ran. And are you certain that he didn't run better than Tom's Day Top 2 back at Oaklawn? Because I think he ran the better race. I do. I think he did. He was chasing the pace. The whole pace fell apart. He was wide the whole way. I'm not sure that Improbable just didn't finally grow up. And this is a horse that could be a good horse. I think Improbable's going to run very well today.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I don't know if I disagree with what you're saying, but if he wins, I'm tearing.
No,
I don't like
I'm
this.
using all 3 of them.
Okay.
I'm using
not.
all 3 of them.
I'm not using them.
I almost
I'm
switched
sick of
to him.
seeing those horses out in California that he's beating. You know, there was
But
nothing
Anthony,
else in there.
he ran better than Tom Stott 2
The
back.
race 2 back. Yeah, but you know what? You could.
Anthony beat
here's
those
another
horses
thing.
like a drum.
But here's another thing. Tom's D'Etat is another horse that's probably going to want more ground than the mile, and he still beat him. Now, I know this horse did all the heavy lifting and the dirty work, but Tom's D'Etat still had to run him down the short stretch of the mile at Oaklawn. He's
I think you're
not
being
for me.
overly dismissive of this horse. We'll see how it
I
works out.
think it is clear cut 3 and 5, and then the rest.
I know. I don't.
Okay.
Race number 10, the Alan Jerkins, name for perhaps as great a man to be associated with the game of horse racing and the game of life. As you can imagine, I wish we had an hour to wax poetic about a great man, and we're honored to have a race named for him. Let's talk about No Parole and the Woody Stevens and the horses in there. Listen, as I said to Tom Amos yesterday, you should be very happy I don't have him in the top 4. I didn't have him in the top 4 last time in a 5-horse field, but I'm going to tell you something, and Tom won't disagree with this. He's now got a target in his back, and Bob Baffert didn't ship 8 rings across the country to rate him. That's not what Bob does. And Echo Town is not happy to settle for second again. They're going to be more aggressive, and I think No Parole is going to deal with a lot of heat up front. I hope he runs well for Tom. I hope I'm wrong for Tom, but I don't like this horse at all today.
And despite the fact that he won from off the pace on his return, Tap It to Win's not going to be far from this pace
we'll talk
as well.
about him.
So there's going to be a far more
He's
crowded
not
front
be
end
top of the pace.
For No Parole than there was in the Woody Stevens last time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be much, much tougher for him. And I understand why you like Shoplifted, because he took the worst of it last time and had to middle move. The problem is he was a turn back last time. But the good news is the whole world liked him last time at just under 4-1, and you're going to get a much better price today.
Going to get a much better price today. There's a hotter pace. It's not going to be controlled on the front end by one
Bug
horse.
City up here this year,
Yeah, a little bit. It's not going to be controlled on the front end by No Parole like it was last time. There's going to be a lot of contention on the front end, and if it collapses, and this horse has run well at Saratoga, he broke his maiden up here. He ran second on a wet track. In the hopeful, I'm going to argue that I don't think he likes wet tracks. I think he just ran second that day because he was better than those horses. I think he gets the right setup. I think this pace incinerates.
I think he's a sprinter. I agree.
I think he comes flying and gets the money at a big price.
I'm going to use him. I think he can win in here. I think Tree Technique can win this race. Tree Technique, I think, might be better around 1 turn. I know he's coming off a layoff, but it's not like Jeremiah Horse running well down at Oaklawn, and he still ran well. He may not like a wet track either, and he was wide against a good rail in the Rebel last time and still ran well. He's got figures he could easily improve off of. See, I had an issue in this race. If I went with David's morning line that had Tap It to Win and Tree Technique pretty much the same price, 5 and 6 to 1, I actually believe he's dead wrong. I think Tapit to Win's going to be 7-2 or 3-1 in here, and Three Technique's going to be 10-1. So if I believed I was right, and usually when I think that, David's right and I'm wrong, so I went with him, I would have gone 8-11. To me, I don't worry about it. I like both these horses, and if one of them's a significantly better price, the same price, I much prefer Tapit to Win. I do think the 8 run well. I like Tapit to Win a lot. We'll take a look at his big race. At the end of the day, this was a gigantic effort. I'm not convinced this horse really wants to go long. I think this was one of these bottom-out-the-field races at Belmont. They took a shot. I don't blame them at all. It's worked for Mark Casse in the past. He is not going to be compromised if the pace does not heat up, but we know from his race 3 back that he can stalk and still win at sprint distances. He drew perfectly on the outside, and I think there's a very real chance that he is the best horse in this race. He broke his maiden with a fast figure at Saratoga on a dead rail. I think he may just be better than these horses.
Yeah, that was Travers Day last year where he was the only horse to win any of the dirt races along the inside. I don't know if I disagree with your last statement. Although I will say this. No Parole's a really, really nice horse.
I know. No, he is.
He's
I don't
a
want
really,
to be dismissive.
really nice
I agree.
horse.
I just think the dynamics are going to hurt him today.
And I don't disagree with you, but I'll tell you what. He got himself in a little bit of a pace duel 2 starts back. Put that horse away pretty readily. He went fast to do it. Look, that was going 6 against a lot easier competition.
Who was going?
No
he wasn't
Parole,
a pace
2
duel.
starts back.
Oh, no Parole.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
He just put that horse away.
He can win, but this is 7, and I think the field got a lot tougher.
I don't.
And the dynamics do.
The dynamics in the field got a lot tougher.
What do you do with 8 Rings, who I don't really know what to do with? And I understand he's got a syndication deal. They're trying to get a grade 1 with him. I don't care. You leave Bob Baffert out at 8-1 in stake races at your own peril when he ships west. Yeah, I do.
How much? How many lunches?
What? How much work? He's not going to be 3-1. It's going to be 6-1.
I don't think this horse will be higher than 5-1. It's Bob Baffert.
I disagree with you.
You just said it.
What price was Arrogate?
The other one was the favorite.
Okay. What price was Arrogate?
The other horse was the favorite.
I'm not going to get into it. Let's talk about the race. I think he's going to be a square price. And I'm not going to dismiss horse because this horse was running 2-year-old races fast enough to win this race. I know his race stunk down at Oaklawn, and I have no confidence in him. And maybe Bob just stuck him on the plane with other horses, but I don't know. And he's got nowhere really to run him out in California. He's trying to win. Are you going to be shocked when this horse runs well?
I guess not, but I don't think he's going to be 8-1. And I don't. He's under the gun from the rail.
Big field, Anthony. A lot of horses could take money in here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Interesting race.
I think Echo Town can fall into the trip. Echo Town figures to be the first one of the first ones to come calling on the speed if it collapses. Why can't he win? I think he can win. I don't know why. I mean, and I don't think he'll be that short. I think he'll go. I think him and 8 Rings can be flip-flopped in here. And I think he could be the one lost in the shuffle on the tote board.
We'll see how it works out. Very interesting running of the Alan Jerkins presented by Run Happy. Run Happy's win in the King's Bishop, now Alan Jerkins, was the greatest performance, in my opinion, by a 3-year-old that year.
How about those two? How about that one, too? He beat Limousine Liberal. How many races did they win between them?
Beat him?
Well, he drubbed him. But I'm just saying, Limousine Liberal came back to win multiple grade ones, too.
Race number 11, the Bowling Green, I agree. The Bowling Green, this race gave me an absolute headache watching it. And I'm going to tell you what I finally decided. I don't want any of the horses we've been seeing. Cross Border might win, but he had everything his own way last time and still lost to Channel Maker and Saddler's Joy. I had enough of Saddler's Joy. I don't trust Channel Maker anymore, even though he showed there's still some life left in his last race. I don't know if Marzo's good enough. He's the fresh face for a trainer who seems to be winning every single race that he's in, especially his routers. He'll be a price. He wanted 1.5 miles in the Sycamore race that's good enough to give him a chance here. I just took a new face. I gave up. I couldn't justify picking any of the 2, 5, and 6 at short prices.
You're going to commit me when I tell you this, what I think.
I don't want to know what you think.
All right, let's move on to the.
What do you think, Anthony? Which
I
made up pace scenario?
I think Marzo's going to the lead as a target for Cross Border.
He's not, but okay.
Okay.
But okay. Anyway. Let's not commit you. I just think these are bad opinions based on just some voodoo that you dream up.
This horse was chasing.
The reason I'm up 53 lunches is you have opinions like that.
This horse was chasing Factor This.
The reason I'm up 53 lunches is you have opinions like that.
Do you know how far Factor This would be in front of
Do
the
you know how
field?
slow that pace was?
Do you know how far factor this would be in front of this field?
You know how slow that pace was.
Okay.
Okay, dream on. Anyway, good luck. I hope he's in front. If he's in front, I'll bet more. If they stop the race,
I think he's
if
going to be
in
in
front,
front.
3/8 of a mile in the race, and I can bet more, I'm betting more. Anyway, have at it.
I think if
Steve is not impressed with that opinion, by the way, so you know.
Okay. See how this is me being fazed by Steve not being impressed by that opinion.
53 lunches.
Channel Maker is going to get the right trip in here. And Channel Maker is the kind of horse who a couple of years ago when they changed his tactics to be more forward, he started
I just don't think he wants to
some
win
money.
anymore, Anthony.
You might be right, but last time out against Instilled Regard and Rock Emperor and Sadler's Joy, he was closer and he just got beat to length.
Big length.
It was a big length.
Big length.
Okay, but what would Instilled Regard and Rock Emperor be in here? What would Instilled Regard be in this race?
Rock Emperor would be second.
What would Instilled Regard be?
Not
3
on
to
my
5?
not on my tickets, no.
Instilled Regard wouldn't be 3 to 5 against these horses.
No.
Off his recent form. You're
He
insane.
won that last race by a head.
You're insane.
He won a race by a neck, and you've got him 3 to 5? No,
You're
I think
insane.
Insanity is pretty much wrapped up by you.
You're insane.
Listen, there's nobody in this race that I'm going to fall out of my chair if he wins.
Absolutely not.
And you know I'm going to have a couple dollars in Highland
Absolutely
Sky.
not.
You know I am.
He's cross-entered in the birds, and I think they were taking a look to the sky to see if the rain was going to. Now it looks like the rain is backed off for tomorrow. I think they were waiting to see if that was going to rain tomorrow and maybe run him in there.
He has
ran
no
so well
shot
in
in the
slop.
Bridgestone.
I'm
And I love him. I love him like he's
galloped
family.
in the slop up here last year. I think
A
that's what they were looking at.
horrendous field.
I just think that he was looking
I
at
love
the
him like
slop.
he's family. I hope he
Oh,
wins.
my God.
I just took a horse at a price in here.
I don't
can't
blame you.
particularly justify him. He's probably not as good as the others, but the others just don't seem to have the will to win these races. I'm not going to be surprised when Cross Border wins this race.
He'll be sitting second.
This race gave me a gigantic headache.
Of course it did. Gave me a headache, too.
I
It's
mean, because
impossible.
there's nobody in the race I think you can unequivocally say, boy, is he the horse to beat it here, right?
Well, the problem is, I think the horse that you would anoint the best horse in the race in Sadler's Joy has never been trustworthy.
He's
And that's
the
mostly
best
because of the
horse
way
in the race
he
based
runs.
on past races.
Right, and he's also
not his recent form.
He's a tricky horse to ride.
Yep.
And in these shorter, these smaller fields, the races usually go a little bit slower. Can he win his best? If they all run their best race, Sadler's Joy is going to bury these horses.
I wouldn't have buried the Caress as the 12th race on our card if I was putting this card together. So don't fall asleep at, what is this, like midnight this last race running?
7:22.
On the last race today, because there's a very strong argument that there's two, the two probably best betting races in most interesting races today are the Allen Jerkins from a betting standpoint. The Whitney's a great race, and obviously many Bisu, but from a handicap with the big fields, the Caress and the Allen Jerkins. Let's take a look at the I'll Handle the Cash Belika race and the license fee. This was a great ride by Jose Ortiz, as you can well see, in a driving rainstorm, calling an audible and being aggressive. And I bet I'll Handle the Cash, and I felt like I should have handed half of the cash I won to Jose Ortiz, gave him a great ride. And Delika, Joel gave his usual great ride, but she was compromised by the pouring rain and the whole thing, and I thought she still ran an excellent race to be second, and I prefer. But this is not an easy race.
No, it's not an easy race. She almost gets there anyway, the Lika. And, I mean, boy, a tale of two trips. One trip is just a brilliant ride by I'll Handle the Cash, and the other, it's circumstance.
And Ray gave him full credit. He said Jose caused an audible and put him in the race.
Did the right thing. Put her in the race. Yeah, you'd have to think her trip's going to be a little tougher in here today with a filly like Jakarta in here.
But I'm going to say that I don't think I'll Handle the Cash is going to be 4-1. I think she's going to be a higher price. I think a lot of people are going to think like we are.
Yeah.
Do we totally agree in this race?
Yeah, we do.
So there's no shot.
There's no shot, right. Well, the one thing we know is because we both have Miss Gossip second, she now cannot be better than fifth.
Well, Miss Gossip, her race in the Caress was actually the Smart and Fancy was very good, and she lost to Alexander that day. And it was a big price, but it's a big price in her last two races, and she ran very well behind some nice horses. I thought she'd get a good trip in here, and I thought Miss Gossip could be a bit of a price in here and could get it done.
Yeah, you mentioned this. You mentioned her Smart and Fancy. She actually won a claimer 2 years back here in Saratoga. That was a weird running of the Caress last year when Mama Knew had a good trip, and nobody kind of did any other running. And yeah, I mean, she's run well up here. Third start off a 7-month break, and that filly that she ran into in Kentucky the two times, Change of Control, she's turned into a really nice turf sprinter down there now. So, yeah, I think she makes a lot of sense at a big price. But I saw the race kind of like you, 2, 7, and 10. I mean, I guess Jakarta can get in front of them in here.
I think Jakarta's interesting. they allow themselves to get a little intimidated back by newspaper of record. She's going to the front in here.
Yeah, she
Are
is.
you going to be shocked when Jakarta wires this field? Because
No.
I'll tell you something. She's in pretty good form, and her last 2 races sort of belie that.
Yeah.
I think she's a little bit dangerous. I know that 5-furlong win was that goofy Gulfstream turf course. I think she's going to outrun her odds.
I think that's the only thing that gives you a little trepidation, right? Like you said, they were kind of intimidated by newspaper record in the Intercontinental, and I mean she beat Kitten's cover girl and Miss Misha. It's.
But turf sprints are funny.
They are.
Because there's not that much of a gap between the 50 claimers and the stakes horses.
And you see that. You see that. You see it often. You see horses running in the allowance optional claimers, and they're in the stakes race.
I just went like that.
I saw it again.
I
try to see. Unlike you, who would jump on me, would pounce on me like a cheetah. I let it go.
He's so mean to me.
Yeah. I feel like me telling you.
Can we talk about Kariba?
It's like me telling you to lose a few pounds.
Can we talk about Kariba for a second? They're trying to get the hook out for us. You see that? Steve's got the hook out for us.
She's the one.
Steve took the hook out a little early.
She's the one at a price. If she's a price, I don't have my morning line.
I think she's going to be overbet off a perfect trip win against lesser horses. But the way Christophe Clement is going, nothing would shock me.
And she'll get bet off
she
of
got
that as well.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. She got a ride. She's in post 9. She has Jakarta on the front end. Maybe a couple others chasing Jakarta. Isn't she supposed to work out a good? I know you don't bet horses basing on maybe getting good trips again, but isn't she kind of supposed to get a good trip again? She kind of is.
I don't bet horses based on them.
I know you don't.
To get
I know
a
you
good
don't.
trip.
But the way the barn's going and the trip she figures to pull in here, I thought it was 2, 7, and 10. I might throw her in on a backup ticket.
Okay.
And then come back with an extra ticket with
bet you in the Bowling Green. Maybe Marza will be in front.
I'm telling you, Mars was going to the lead today.
Okay,
I
didn't
sniffed
bet
that out the other night smoking a cigar. That's happening.
I want you to smoke less cigars. I do.
I've been smoking much less up here.
Cut down on the cigars
Much less up here.
and the pasta. Anyhow,
I
that's
had
another
potatoes last
discussion.
night at Nova instead of the pasta with my chicken and eggplant. And I will do it again tonight. I will have potatoes instead of pasta with my chicken and eggplant at Nova tonight.
He's the big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm not. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Use the promo code SPA, and we will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Join Naira Bet, support racing in New York, reap all the benefits of Naira Bets, such as, well, you can bet anywhere.
Boom. Yeah, but you want to bet
Pick
it at Naira
fives,
Bet.
races 1, 6, and 8, 3 of them. Pick fours, 2, 4, and 9, 3 of them.
That's McKenzie. He's scratching out of the Bing Crosby today.
Apparently, you're one of the few people that knew that, even though it was reported in the Daily Racing Form on Wednesday. Bankroll builder through Naira Bets.
Can't help yourself.
Bet
I just
50
can't
or
help
more to
myself.
win on any horse. You know it's true. Bet 50 or more to win on any horse, and you get $20 back. So, I mean, if you're going to bet 20, bet an extra 30, but you get 20 back.
Of course.
So you got to do it.
And it's for
You gotta
Woodward
do
and
it.
Derby Day. I mean,
And it's the Alan Jerkins presented by Run Happy. Cross country pick 5. Race 9 at Woodbine, race 11 at Monmouth, called by the Monmouth Oak, called by the inimitable Frank Miramati.
Wow.
Then the Whitney, then race 10. I believe the Woodbine races are being shown on Saturday Live. Then we'll finish it up with that wonderful Alan Jerkins presented by Run Happy.
I got to tell you right now, those are my three of my favorite race callers. Robbie Geller, Frank Miramati, and, of course, our main man, Johnny
I don't like that Miramati guy.
Oh, all right.
You know,
Okay.
I do. Frank's a close friend and a
Kurt
terrific
Becker,
race
too.
call.
I put in that list.
Watch Saratoga Live. And keep in mind, we will not be on Fox from 3 to 4. There are other networks. We've
MSG
tweeted
Plus
out.
up here is where I
Yes,
watch.
MSG Plus, I agree. You can go to Naira.com/Saratoga Live, I think.
Yeah.
And you can find out where things are. But we will be off from 3 to 4, I
We
believe.
matched today.
4 to 6 on 1. When I get up in the morning, I say, I wonder what Anthony's wearing, because whatever Anthony's wearing, that's what I want to wear. Johnny I.
We got to go.
Reprise the scratches and changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Saratoga Racecourse on Whitney Day. Mostly sunny skies. In fact, bright sunshine right now. The temperature in the 80s. The main track is fast. The turf course is firm. Portable rails are up 18 feet on both the melon and the inner. And there's a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of $808,673. Today, the Empire 6 will begin in race number 7. The changes begin in the first race today. We have overweights. In fact, all horses will carry 1 pound over in the opener. In the second race, scratch number 7, Winston's Chance. Scratch number 7, Winston's Chance. In today's third race, and all horses there will be 2 pounds over. Scratch number 6, Golconda. Scratch the 6, Golconda, and note that number 9, Regal Speaker, should be listed as a colt. In the fourth race, with the exception of number 2, all horses will be 1 pound over, and number 4, Futuro, is a Ridgeling. Race 5 is the Personal Ensign Stakes, a Grade 1 for fillies and mares. Scratch number 5, Bossy Bride. Scratch the 5. Numbers 1, 2, 4, and 6 will be 2 pounds over, and there's no show wagering on race 5. The sixth race begins an additional pick 5, and that one has a mandatory payout. No changes in the sixth. In today's seventh race, which starts the Empire 6, all horses will be 1 pound over. In the eighth race, which begins a pick 5, number 6, Montauk Summer, will be 4 pounds over. All other horses, with the exception of number 3, will be 2 pounds over. The ninth race, the Grade 1 Whitney. And the Whitney starts an additional pick 4. Number 4, Mr. Buff, is 2 pounds over. Race 10, the Grade 1 Allen Jerkins, presented by Run Happy. These horses will carry 2 pounds over. Numbers 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Race 11 is the Grade 2 Bowling Green Stakes. Scratch number 7, Pillar Mountain. Scratch the 7. And note that numbers 2 and 3 are 2 pounds over. In today's 12th race, the Caress Stakes. These horses will be 2 pounds over. Numbers 3, 7, 9, and 10. Main track is fast. Turf course is firm. Jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $808,000. The opener at Saratoga on Whitney Day in 35 minutes at 110.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the new jackpot. 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Saratoga Racecourse. 1